This did this last time. When guess. All righty, let me go ahead and ask Miss Jamie Harmon Parker to the screen. Hello, Jamie. How are you?
Hello. How are you?
I'm great. Sorry about that. I tried to get a little break to bring you on, but technology sometimes.
That's okay. I am so excited and happy to be here. Thank you.
Yes, I'm super excited to have you on this show. I just wanted to give viewers a little bit of a background how I found you. So I was, I'm always, the whole show is just looking for everyday people like you and I, people who are doing amazing things, trying to make a difference and change the world. And I actually came across Miss Jamie via Instagram. And so I read up on the Rufus and Buddy Show, and I loved what you were doing, and I found it so inspiring. So of course, I asked you to be on the show, and so I'm super happy to have you here. And I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself to everyone and tell us a little bit about you and the Rufus and Buddy Show.
Well, again, thank you. And I'm so excited to be here, and I feel quite privileged. You have some very interesting guests coming on today, so I'm glad that I'm coming before them. But again, my name is Jamie Harmon Parker, and I am from Columbia, South Carolina. I am a recent grad of Capella University. I hold a master's in human services. And so the Rufus and Buddy Show is all about encouraging preschoolers. That's my target age group. It's all about encouraging preschoolers in good citizenship. So the goal is to do it in a fun way. We want to teach preschoolers about having compassion for their fellow classmates, honesty, integrity, those types of things. And so that is that's the vision and the goal of the Rufus and Buddy Show.
Right. I love that, especially I love it because it's unique. There's so many different ways to reach children, right? And entertain them, but also encourage them to learn something. And I loved what you said about encouraging and inspiring kids to be good citizens. So how did you essentially decide that you wanted to encourage them through puppetry? What brought you to puppetry? Is it something you've been doing since you were younger, or somebody introduced it to you? What's the story behind that?
So it actually started in church. I was a Sunday school teacher, and I was responsible for the little ones ages 3 to 5. And so I was trying to come up with a unique way to reach the children, a way in which I can teach them on their level.
Right.
It will also be, fun at the same time, encouraging and on their level. So I started out in Sunday school. I brought out the puppets one day and just started working with the children that way. And it took off very well. As a matter of fact, the children wanted to come to Sunday school more often. They were even going out and inviting their friends to church. And so, so it was a hit in Sunday school. So that's where the spirit of the puppetry began, in church and Sunday school.
I love that. And so the whole premise of teaching them to be a good citizen, can you kind of walk us through the process of what that looks like, with how you tell this, how you inspire and encourage children to be good citizens through the Rufus and Buddy Show? If you can kind of paint us a picture of that.
So every show has a theme. And so each, the theme be based on honesty. If it's based on honesty, then I write a skit centered around that. And then through that, a story is told. And so through that story that's being told, then I encourage kids and inspire them that way through the story. And then at the end of every show, kids have the opportunity to play a game. And so the game is also reinforces what's being told in that story that's a part of the show.
Right. I love that. And I bet, like you said, kids respond to it and they're inclined to learn. And like you said, now you have the children going out and saying, come to my church. We get to learn, how to be good citizens, or we get to learn about honesty, or I learned about, telling the truth, just different things like that. I think that's fantastic and great. So now that you've been doing this for a while, how has it changed your perspective of essentially just world, everyday life, and just children's education in general?
So I guess in children's education, I'm also a substitute teacher. So being a part of the public school arena. So inside the schools, they're always coming up with different innovative ways to inspire, to encourage, and teach children.
Absolutely.
So being a substitute teacher, that has encouraged and inspired me into coming up with, different ways in order to reach children. Right. As far as, I'm sorry, what was your other question? I'm sorry.
No, you're totally fine. I was just saying, like, how has it changed your perspective?
Okay. So, I can say that, it's mostly encouraged me to stay on task, to keep at it, because I see the value of it more and more. The more I do it, the more value I see in it, and the more I can see how it's reaching the children and how it's making an impact. So it's encouraged me and inspired me to just keep going at it, to make it grow larger than what it is. Right. So my hope is to one day maybe be an actual part of the public school education system, where I can come in on a regular basis, doing Good Citizenship Week or something, and present a performance for the children.
Right. So I'm just a little bit more curious about what led you to be, a substitute teacher and in education. I know you said you started off with the Rufus and Buddy Show doing it at church, but growing up, was it something you always knew you were going to do? You were going to be in education, you were going to be a substitute teacher, or what kind of led you? Any significant life moment that led you to doing that?
I never thought I would be a substitute teacher. So that sort of like happened along the way.
Okay.
My past includes I worked with a local university for over 10 years, in which I was worked on a research project. And so that project involved me going into schools, interviewing teachers who had students that were a part of the research project. And so by me going into the schools and just being a part of that program, that sort of gave me some kind of, a small foundation on, piquing my curiosity about, school. But the program that I worked with, we were tracking children that were in kindergarten, that were part of a conflict management program. So we were trying to see how early intervention, how that affected children's life, whether or not, that early intervention stuck with them from elementary school all the way through high school. And so later on in life, after being a part of several research programs, then I decided that I would try substitute teaching while I was getting my education. So it worked good with trying to go to school. Right. Yeah, so the hours worked well with that.
Yeah. I bet. So now that you've kind of had this, this more narrow, I almost said broad, but this more narrow spectrum of exactly what it is, the direction you want to go, how would you narrow down what you believe your purpose is now with the Rufus and Buddy Show, and just as a woman in general, who's trying to educate children through the art of puppetry? What would you narrow down your purpose to?
So I guess, how would I narrow down my purpose? I guess I would say that my purpose is to reinforce those attributes that parents are reinforcing in their children, they're reinforcing their children already. I want to be a part. I like to say I want to be a part of that village that says train up a child in the way that they should go. And so I feel like that's my purpose in life, and that's my purpose with the Rufus and Buddy Show. Just be a part of that that community.
What role does your spirituality play in what you're doing?
Well, my spirituality plays a role in who I am. So it plays a role in everything that I do in life. And so I do nothing outside of that. So I try to, in that being, then I make sure that those same attributes, being a good citizen, that I stress to children, those are part of my life as well.
Right. Absolutely. What would you say to maybe those who are like critics who might be like, puppetry, maybe it's outdated? Is that really an effective way to, inspire, encourage children to learn? What would you say to those parents or just people in general who may be critics of saying, oh, there's more, there's better ways to reach children than puppetry?
So I will say that I don't feel like there's better ways. I think there are different ways to do different things, and that I don't feel like puppetry is outdated. I feel like it's coming back, and even if it's not coming back, I'm bringing it back. Buddy, we're going to bring it back. I don't feel like it's outdated, and puppetry has a lot of value to it. One of the things that I wanted to mention that part anyway, that puppetry puppetry can help in the development of positive social and emotional development. So those things are very important in those younger years of raising our children.
So for you, in terms of like coming up with Rufus and Buddy and the name, what's the story essentially behind them? Are they buddies? Are they pals? Are they so what is it?
Your best pals. So this is Rufus and this is Buddy. So they are best pals. And the thing of it is that Rufus is always encouraging Buddy and telling him a story about good citizenship.
And so is Buddy kind of like, does he go on these little adventures or real life kind of scenarios where he's faced with different things to kind of help him learn exactly how to be honest, or like you said, how to be a good citizen and so on and so forth?
Exactly.
It's so adorable, and I just can only imagine, because I'm trying to think back to I'm trying to think back to my childhood, and I'm like, I don't remember, going to a puppet show or really, but I mean, besides the Muppets, I guess you'd say, a TV show like that. But I was like, I don't remember seeing a real live, puppet show. And I could only imagine how entertaining and fun that would be for kids. Tell me a little bit more about the challenges, because I know with COVID, you probably had to slow down, right, on doing your live shows, or I don't know if that affected the Sunday school lessons that you said at church, but paint me a picture of kind of the struggles and challenges you endured with that.
Well, it has been challenging because the Rufus and Buddy Show actually launched during COVID. So my whole curriculum of going out into the schools and being able to present the show that way, everything had closed down. So, but it was a good thing, because my initially when I started out, we were going to be a traveling mostly show. Right. But because of COVID, then it encouraged me to do virtual shows more. And so now I've added the virtual shows, and kids can watch the shows, and we even play games. Like I said, during the virtual shows, they're able to win prizes still during the virtual shows. So it was a bit challenging, but I think what it did is that it encouraged me to think differently and look at different ways of presenting the show.
So let us inform us about the process. So if somebody who's watching right now and maybe they've got a child whose birthday, is coming up and they wanted to do a virtual live, how do they get in contact with you? Where can they go? What's the process?
So they would contact me through my website, which is JameeSpokenWord.com. So Rufus and Buddy Show is a part of Jamee's Spoken Word. So it's Jamee's Spoken Word, doing business as the Rufus and Buddy Show. So they would contact me through that website. Let me know if they're going to have a birthday party, then they can go to the site and put in all the information in reference to the amount of children that they're going to have and those types of things. But if you want to have a birthday party, then you just sign up, and we pick a date. At the theme, I try to stick to the same theme. I try to keep everything within being a good citizen. So I don't alter the theme. Even if it's a birthday party, it'll be fun, but it'll still be centered around good citizenship. So every skit that I write, although for a party, for a church, for school, it would still be centered around good citizenship. So be it virtual or in person, every show is followed by a game. All the games are made for children, centered around children that are pre-K. So everything is pre-K friendly. The games are, the shows are, as well as the prizes are. So any prizes that they would receive are centered around that age group as well.
Oh, that's awesome. So in terms of 5-10 years from now, what are some of your hopes and visions for the Rufus and Buddy Show? Where do you see yourself in the future with this? What are your hopes, at least?
Well, my hopes are that 5 or 10 years from now, that we would have grown and we're more popular, that we can become a common theme among our local public schools, in which we can go out doing good citizen programs for the children there. So I want to be, the schools and the daycares are very important to me. And so those are it's very important that we're able to go out and reach those venues. So I would like to be just a local name among the schools, to freely come in and present a presentation.
Right. So for people who may be asking, okay, this sounds great, but maybe there's someone else out there who's doing something, a little bit similar to what you're doing. What would you say? What would you say in terms of what separates the Rufus and Buddy Show, maybe from other, puppet shows? What makes you guys so unique?
Well, I think our uniqueness is in the fact that we do live, and we also offer virtual, so we're very flexible in that. Our uniqueness also is that we stick to that area of good citizenship. So we're not going to come out with something different every time we come out. We're coming out presenting that one major theme to help to encourage children. And I feel like by encouraging our children, then that also inspires our parents. That helps to reinforce those things that the parents are trying to teach our children. And there may be other puppet shows, but there's still no other Rufus and Buddy out there, and there's no other Miss Jamie out there.
No, absolutely right. And I know I read on your website that you're very, very passionate and very big on words in general, what people say and how they carry themselves, and words that they live by. Can you share a little bit more about what words specifically mean to you and the role that plays in you inspiring children to be good citizens?
Well, because, I do believe that words are very powerful. Words can lift you up and words can bring you down. And so in encouraging children to be good citizens, if they would be cognizant of that, if we could remind them of that, of how powerful their words are, then then I feel like that will help them to be able to be better citizens when they grow up, that they'll be able to be better able to, support constructively to their community.
Right. Right, absolutely. I think community is very key. And like you said, for these children here, we live in a time where we have 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, sometimes even younger, a little bit older, committing suicide and taking their life just based off of, different words that people have said, or just because they go to school and they find themselves getting bullied. And, people can say, oh, well, I was just upset when I said this, or, it's just words, or kids are mean, right? That's one of the things that I know I hear a lot of the times. Children might come home from school crying about, Tommy or Timmy said this to me in school, mommy, it made me upset. They're crying, and parents sometimes tend to blow it off and just say, oh, ignore Timmy or ignore Tommy. Those are just words, or, be tough. Things, where I'm going with this, things like that. And yet children, it really can scar them for life and really hurt them. And so that's why I really love that you guys focus on being good citizens, because through this puppet show, it really encourages and motivates people to develop such good character. And like you said, I think it's not only just something that preschoolers can learn from, I think it can also inspire parents as well to really be careful the things they say, because sometimes I think even parents, the way they talk to their children, right? You have some people who say, my mom cursing me out was something that I grew up with, right? It's not a big deal. But I can only imagine if you have a preschooler who's like, mommy, that's, maybe after, going to one of your shows, mommy, that's not nice. You shouldn't say that. Remember, we're supposed to be good citizens. It's something that parents can even learn from. So throughout this journey, what would you say has been your biggest reward through this all? Or if you have any personal stories that you want to share with one of the shows you did where a kid was really touched, or maybe a parent was touched, I'd love to hear that.
So this centers around what you just said, because I had a couple of virtual shows where I had the same young man at both shows. He's like 4 years old. So one of the shows, as a matter of fact, the most recent show, it was Valentine's Day. So in our Valentine's Day show, Buddy said that Valentine's Day is just for girls. So he said Valentine's Day is not cool and it's only for girls. So my little fellow that was watching the show, he turned around and he told his mother, he said, I'm not watching this anymore, because that's not right. That's not right for him to say that Valentine's Day is only for girls. So he said, I'm not watching it anymore. He was only 4 years old. And so that really touched me. So his parents, and he walked away, and his parents had to bring him back into the room and had him to finish watching the show. And so he saw that Buddy had changed his mind, and he found out that Valentine's Day is a day in which, we all express our love and caring for everyone. So it's not a day just for girls, but it's a day for everyone. Right. So that really touched me to think that he'd been watching. This was his second time watching one of my shows. And so he learned something from that. So that really touched me. So to know that if I do 2,000 shows and only reach 2 children, it would be worth it. So.
Right. Absolutely. No, absolutely. I agree 100%. And like you said, those are the stories and memories that I feel like you keep close to your heart and you share. And then with other people, like you're doing now, you can share and say, hey, there was this such, or I imagine when he gets older, I remember when you were 4 years old, you said this, then you watched the show, and so on and so forth. So I think that's incredible and great. And I know, of course, as you are a mother, and I read a grandmother as well, are your granddaughters huge fans? Do they get kind of unlimited free?
Yes. Of course, agree.
I know that probably makes them super happy to be able to do that. And so as a mother and, as just a parent and grandparent in general, how do you bring that to your shows as well?
So I guess as a mother, of course, it makes me very what word am I looking for? It makes me make sure that I stay focused in what it is that I'm doing, and make sure that everything is well put together. Because as a mother, when I'm teaching my children something, I'm giving my children instruction in something, I want to make sure that what I'm doing is correct.
Right.
So I make sure that everything is done the correct way. I guess make sure that all the research, I do research on what it is that I've written before I present it, to make sure that everything is politically correct and that all the instruction makes sense, makes logical educational sense, and that it can be used instructively, by someone else. So that's important to me, because in raising my children, when I teach them things, I want to teach them the right things in life. And so I don't want to be instructing children the wrong way.
Right.
Good intentions, but still instructing them the wrong way. So it's very important to me that I'm giving, the right type of instruction.
Right. No, absolutely. I agree 100%. So whenever you kind of get an idea in your head and write it down, how long does it generally take you to kind of write the script and lay out, formulate your show?
Well, I think I'm a writer at heart. So once I get an idea in my mind, it doesn't take very long for me to actually write it. Once that idea pops into my mind, I can write a script in 30 minutes or less. It depends. So it doesn't take very long for me to actually write it.
Wow. So what continues going forward? What continues to inspire you? What continues to be your motivation?
So my motivation is children just like that 4-year-old who learn something. So children are my inspiration. They are my motivation. The world as it is a big motivator for me, because I feel like, as adults, we can do better. And I feel like if we would all, take the time to try to be a part of that village, to encourage all of our children, to inspire them, to train them up in the way that they should go, then I feel like it'll be a better future for our children. So I feel like what I'm doing now my hope is that it'll put a dent in some of the diversity and cultural things that are going on now, so that, we train them up in the right way, then they'll be as one.
Right.
So, and with the Rufus and Buddy Show, we have a diverse group of puppets. I call them my little children. We have a diverse group of children in the Rufus and Buddy Show. So it's not just Rufus and Buddy, but they have lots of friends that come out from time to time. And so the friends have different faces as well. So we look just like the world out there looks. So
I know. I love that. I think that's very key. So in terms of being a good citizen, going off with what you just said, do you guys try to, because I know there's still preschoolers, but in terms of maybe the social issues that are going on, do you try to address any of those? Or have you tried in the past with certain shows, maybe such as, racism or, kind of racy and controversial topics? Do you try to address those in the show, or since they're still preschoolers, you kind of, hold off on those topics? I'm just curious.
Well, since they are preschoolers, I've been somewhat holding off a little on those topics. So I'm trying to kind of get a little feel for, how to go with that.
Right.
So I feel like, because I know I am a substitute teacher.
Right.
But I like to do research, so I feel like I would like to, meet with a couple of educators and see how, whether or not the preschoolers are actually, ready for that. So,
Right. Right. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Any final thoughts or things that you'd like to share with us?
again, I want to say thank you, and I would, I can't think of any final thoughts other than, I would like for people to go to my website and check out what it is that we have to offer at the Rufus and Buddy Show. And that's all I think that I would have to say. I guess, I'm still a little nervous.
Yeah, no, you're fine. You're fine. I just really appreciate you coming on the show. And like she said, you guys, I included all of her information down there at the bottom. So again, if you guys are interested in doing, scheduling a virtual show or just have some more questions, or maybe even want to learn more about the art of puppetry, please, I'm sure Miss Jamie would not mind if you guys reached out to her and asked her any questions. So you can follow her, like their Facebook page, and you can follow her on Instagram. And like I said, Miss Jamie, it's such a pleasure to have you on the show. And I'd love to have you back on the show again. And we will be keeping up with all of the great things that the Rufus and Buddy Show is doing. And please, if you ever come to Texas, we'd love to have you do a show here in a community or school here in Texas. So if you guys are going to be traveling, hopefully with all this, COVID, once things die down. But thank you again so much for coming on the show. It was a pleasure to have you on, and a pleasure meeting you virtually as well.
Thank you. And the same to you. And hey, I might take you up on that visit to Texas. I have a daughter that's moving to Texas.
Oh, do you? What part? I'm in Dallas. Is she moving to Dallas?
She'll be in Houston. Her husband is in the military.
Oh, okay. Awesome. I do go to Houston sometimes, so maybe we can connect on that. That'd be great. Well, thank you so much again, and you have a great week, and we will be talking and connecting very soon.
You are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Alrighty.